Hello, and welcome to episode 20 of the Brain Cancer Podcast. Now, before we get into the episode today, I just had a few things that I was thinking about during the day, and I really wanted to get some of my thoughts out there, and I thought that it would be a good idea to put them on a recording and share them all with you. I think about a lot of things during the course of my day. Sometimes I kind of wish that I put more of them down in audio form. I may try and do more of these short updates where I just sit down and talk about how my day-to-day life is going, especially since now I don't have to go to the hospital as often. It gives me more time to work on more episodes. And there are quite a few topics that you all have given me to research on, and I'm excited to do more in the future. In this episode, I want to talk about something that I am very familiar with, and I'm also surprised that I have yet to do an episode on it. And this is going to be an episode all about immunotherapy and what you can expect if you are offered either immunotherapy as a treatment or a potential clinical trial for an immunotherapy drug. That is what I was given. It's been 4.5 years. I don't know if it was the immunotherapy drug that I was on or a combination of the wonderful resection surgery that I had combined with radiation. And during the radiation, I was also on this immunotherapy drug. I did 6 weeks of radiation. Starting the same day as my first day of radiation, I received my first infusion of the immunotherapy drug. I believe that immunotherapy in combination with other treatments really is the future of brain cancer treatment. As usual, I will be posting the articles that I reference in the episode description down below and also on the Facebook page. I really should be doing that more often though. We should probably start at the beginning. What is immunotherapy? Immunotherapy stimulates the body's natural immune system to destroy cancer cells. So essentially, what we are trying to do is utilize your own body's immune system to identify and target cancerous cells while also being able to recognize and destroy any cancer cells that develop in the future. Most of the work of your immune system is performed by your T cells, and these are the cells that protect your body from infections and cancer by specifically recognizing anything that is not you, such as viruses and bacteria, while also killing infected cells. They can also recognize and destroy tumor cells because these cells make mutated proteins which are then seen by your T cells as not from you. This is all fine and dandy, except for many brain cancers, especially glioblastoma, are very immunosuppressive. What this means is they produce a lot of chemicals and proteins such as cytokines, which allow the tumor to hide from the immune system. So you may have this tumor growing inside of your head, and normally your immune system would recognize these cancer cells and go and destroy them and remove all of the waste particles. But the tumor is always one step ahead of the immune system by producing these proteins and these chemicals which tell your immune system that everything's fine over here, go somewhere else. Meanwhile, your tumor is rapidly growing, dividing, and every time these cells divide, there are more mutations. And these mutations are another hurdle that we all have to go through which makes brain cancer treatment that much more difficult. There are literally thousands of different mutations and combinations of mutations that can happen, which makes one single therapy not effective against every type of brain cancer. You can have a cancer cell with 10 different mutations on it, and you take a drug which is really effective against 2 of them, but there's still 8 others that it does nothing against. So the trick is really personalized combination therapy, utilizing surgery, radiation, and some other combination of immunotherapy and temozolomide or Avastin, which prevents tumors from growing blood vessels, which provide nutrients to the tumors. How we go about harnessing the power of our immune system is being looked at in quite a few different ways, some of which I had mentioned on previous episodes, and I'm going to go over 4 of the main types of immunotherapy. This first one we've certainly been hearing a lot of over the past year when I'm talking about vaccines. They want to create a vaccine which will train your immune system to recognize very specific tumor proteins known as antigens and destroy that particular tumor cell. So, how do these cancer treatment vaccines work against cancer? Unlike the cancer prevention vaccines, these vaccines are designed to be used in people who already have the cancer. They work against the cancer cells, not against something that causes cancer. There are 3 main ways that these cancer treatment vaccines are made. They can be made from your own tumor cells, which means they are essentially custom made so that they cause an immune response against the features that are unique to your cancer, which I really like. They may be made from tumor-associated antigens that are found on cancer cells of many people with a specific type of cancer. This one is still really experimental just simply because of the amount of mutations caused in brain tumors in general. And there's another one which can be made from your own dendritic cells, which are a type of immune cell. And these stimulate your immune system to respond to an antigen on tumor cells. Only one for non-brain cancer has been approved, which is used to treat advanced prostate cancer. It's these other types of cancer vaccines which are being used in clinical trials for brain cancers. There's also CAR T-cell immunotherapy. When we talk about CAR T-cell therapy, your T cells are modified in the lab so that they make a type of protein known as CAR before they are grown and given back to you. It stands for chimeric antigen receptor. CARs are designed to allow the T cells to attach to specific proteins on the surface of the cancer cells, improving their ability to attack the cancer cells. TIL therapy, it uses the tumor-infiltrating lymphocytes that are found in your tumor. Doctors test these lymphocytes in the lab to find out which ones best recognize your tumor cells. Then, these selected lymphocytes are treated with substances that make them grow to large numbers quickly. The idea behind this approach is that the lymphocytes are in or near the tumor have already shown the ability to recognize your tumor cells. There just might not be enough of them to effectively kill the tumor or overcome the signals that the tumor is releasing to suppress the rest of your immune system. So they give you a large number of them that react best with the tumor to help you overcome that shield that your tumor is trying to put up to protect from the T cells in the first place. Your body might be able to recognize that there's a tumor there, and only some of the T cells will actually show up to fight the battle. The others can still be fooled because the T cells do have slight differences. So we see both of them operating on the same system of you send your tumor cells to get analyzed. The doctors take some of your own T cells. They match up proteins from your tumor to what works best for the T cells that they removed. They make more, or they modify the T cells to best attack those proteins that are on your tumor, and they send them back in, and then they will recruit more of your body's own immune cells in addition to those modified cells to go and attack and kill the tumor, and hopefully kill all of the cancer cells and prevent them from going back in the future. There are quite a few of these CAR T-cell immunotherapy clinicals that have completed or are in progress right now, and they show a lot of potential, although they will not work for everybody, just like any other therapy for brain cancer. Next up, we have the immune checkpoint inhibitors, which you may have seen certain commercials on TV, which are also checkpoint inhibitors like Keytruda or Avastin. Immune checkpoint inhibitors work in a very interesting way. Immune checkpoints are a normal part of the immune system. What they do is prevent an immune response from being so strong that it destroys the healthy cells in your body. When you're getting your blood work done, they will check your thyroid, pancreas, and other specific hormones in your body so that they can verify that your immune system is not attacking the healthy parts of your body. So they work by blocking the checkpoint proteins from binding to their partner proteins. And this prevents the off signal, like we discussed, from being sent, allowing the T cells to kill the cancer cells. You'll most often hear them referred to as PD-1 or PDL-1, which refer to programmed cell death ligand 1. Both primary and secondary brain cancers often exhibit high expression of the immunosuppressive factor programmed cell death ligand 1, which can be inhibited by these new treatments, which activate the immune system. Because we talked about earlier, your tumors are often very immunosuppressive, which means they hide from the immune system. These PD-1 and PDL-1 checkpoint inhibitors can essentially switch off that function and activate your immune system to go attack the tumors directly, which I think is completely fascinating and a great potential new treatment that we should definitely be looking into more. There have been a lot of studies, especially for glioblastoma, using these PDL-1 checkpoint inhibitors, and some have been effective, some have failed. But like I've said before, even a failed clinical trial is not technically a failure. They are still gathering information and data which can guide future treatments. And that is another reason why I believe clinical trials are so important. And these researchers also found that patients with glioblastoma had fewer T cells and therefore less activation of the immune system than patients with brain metastases who had high concentrations of T cells. They also found that PDL-1 was common in both glioblastoma and brain metastases, with glioblastoma showing particularly high PDL-1 positivity, which means if we can effectively shut off those switches, we would have a much more effective treatment against glioblastoma than the standard of care, which is surgery, radiation, and chemo, which is only as effective as your MGMT methylation status. In the trial, which gave Temodar approval back in 2005, which was the creation of what is now known the STUP or STUCK protocol, the average patient median survival rate went from 12.1 months up to 14.6 months. So the average for a successful clinical trial and approval of Temodar was 2.5 months. That is just unacceptable. And the fact that we haven't had really any meaningful new treatments in 16 years. The most recent FDA approved specifically for the use in brain cancer patients was the Optune device, which was back in 2015. The Optune device is a great device, and I do plan to do a full episode on that, and hopefully I can get somebody on the show who is actively using it so we can hear their perspective, because I know about it and I know what you have to do with it, but I want to bring somebody on that knows what life is like with it. The fourth type of immunotherapy that I want to cover are the monoclonal antibodies, which are the drugs that end in MAB or MAB. Now, for me personally, I was on durvalumab, and these are defined as drugs that can specifically target tumor cells and allow recognition and destruction of that cell by the immune system. They don't directly stimulate an increased immune response, but they are not always classed as a form of immunotherapy. Although at the hospital, everybody referred to it as immunotherapy. So that's why I included it in this episode. These monoclonal antibodies act a little bit differently in that they aren't modified T cells or utilizing your T cells in a different manner. What they do is they can target the tumor cells. Now, I've got some information here from cancer.gov about how monoclonal antibodies work against cancer. They are immune system proteins that are created in the lab. Antibodies are produced naturally by your body and help the immune system recognize germs that cause disease, such as bacteria and viruses, and they essentially tag them to be destroyed. Like your body's own antibodies, monoclonal antibodies recognize specific targets. And these aren't just used in brain cancer. They've been successfully used in kidney cancer and stomach cancer and kidney cancer. So the theory is that these should also work for brain cancer. But like we discussed earlier, every brain cancer is going to be slightly different. And while these antibodies might be able to tag some of the cancer cells, it doesn't mean that the cancer cells can't adapt against these antibodies, because cancer is very, very good at mutating and hiding from the immune system so that it can keep dividing. And that brings me back to combination treatments and personalized therapy. If we can get a sample of somebody's brain tumor when it's resected from surgery, the scientists and researchers at a hospital can create a personalized therapy saying that X, Y, and Z would be your best options, instead of just relying on radiation and temozolomide 523 after that for 6 or 12 months, and then maybe something else will come up. That's just not acceptable to me as a patient, or for anybody else that I know that has brain cancer or has been affected by it. I really believe that these immunotherapy treatments are the future of brain cancer treatment. I really do. There's still a lot of work to be done. There are plenty of long-term survivors out there, and that's why I advocate so much for clinical trials, and hopefully we can get more of these different types of immunotherapies FDA approved so that there are no more hurdles for people to overcome just to be able to live a happy life post brain cancer. Far too many people are lost far too young from this disease. We still might be years, decades away, but think about where we used to be. Although we haven't really had any major advances in the past 20, 30 years other than temozolomide, there have been so many new treatments that have come and have a lot of potential. I try and post as many as I find on the website or on the Facebook page or in our brain cancer Discord chat. They don't only provide updates on all these new experimental or promising treatments or the success stories from them, they also provide hope so that none of you feel like there are no other options. That was really the purpose of this episode, to give you all a quick primer on immunotherapy, what it does, and some of the more common types of immunotherapies, like the checkpoint inhibitors, modified and transferred T cells, monoclonal antibodies, and the vaccines. There are different treatments that are all being studied right now, and I do have a lot of faith in the future of this particular field of cancer treatment. I really want to say thank you all so much for listening. I'm sorry I haven't sat down and actually recorded an episode in a little bit now, and I'm really sorry. And I'm sorry if my voice was not the greatest during this session. I couldn't quite get everything to sound right, but I'm trying my best, and hopefully you all understand. If you need anything at all, don't hesitate to email me at braincancerpodcast@gmail.com or like the page on Facebook, and you can always message me on there too at facebook.com/braincancerpodcast. You can follow me on Twitter at braincancerpod. You can usually find me on Discord as well in our brain cancer server. If you need a link to that, just let me know. We're more than welcome to have other people. They're some of the best people. And it's great to have another community where everybody knows what everybody else is feeling, so you can vent all you want, and everybody knows it's completely normal. Thank you all so much for listening. You all really mean the world to me. I hope that you all have a great day or a great night, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.